what matters to us in the classroom. So on the screen, you'll see that there are a few words which pop out. Outcomes, empowerment, collaboration, anything which stands out to you or which holds close to your heart. If people from the audience could just help me understand what holds most dearest to you.
Equity. Right now, equity.
Equity. Yes, definitely, ma'am. Whatever students in metro cities are learning, how technology they're using, that should definitely come to the last mile as well, which was again discussed here during the day. So this, we will be touching upon, how our products can empower you and your students. Collaboration, someone said creativity. Again, times have changed. So I'll just share a bit of an anecdote with you. Schools were created during the British era, especially for, when Industrial Revolution was happening. That's when they thought we need to create some kind of a computer. That was the first computer ever made. We created schools, and there was very focused learning which was happening. Everyone was learning the same thing. Now, since then, so much transformation has happened. Yet the way we are learning, the way we are teaching, it's still the same. We need to transform with times. So let's see how we are doing that and how we can actually do that. So, anyone heard about Microsoft 365? Perfect, great. So, for those of us who do not know, this was launched last year, where we brought offerings of Windows Office 365, two products which are dear to everyone's hearts. We've grown up learning, working on these, and then EMS, which is a management solution. What it does is, the beauty of all these products is that it's very simple to use. It's something which is ingrained in our students, and it unlocks creativity. It ensures that teamwork happens, and all of this is done in a very safe and secure manner. So in all the products that we have, especially in productivity solution like Office 365, you will see there are these 4 key personas which our products cater to. So we have students. Students these days, they are native digital people. They've grown up with smartphones. They've grown up using some kind of technology. So how do we engage their native experience? How do we engage their minds in today's changing times? That's something how technology can help. Very simple example. How many of us have heard about Khan Academy? Exactly. So Khan Academy changes the concept of classroom learning, where we're so much used to learning theory. It explains all of that in a video format, in a much more interactive format, which students can understand and view at their own leisure, at their own pace. Now, a lot of times what happens is, sometimes in the class, students feel hesitant to ask questions, or they do not understand the concept. So videos like these, which the concept is called Massive Open Online Courses, or MOOCs, that can help students learn at their own pace. And that's where one of our products called Office Mix, or which is a PowerPoint feature that can help you as teachers to create these MOOCs and not to rely on Khan Academy. So you can be the next Khan Academy. Then educators. In a lot of our interactions, we've done these kind of events. Yesterday we were in Chennai doing that. The week before we did it in Ahmedabad. And we've constantly heard this example from teachers asking, that all this is fine, I really want to adopt technology in my classroom, but I'm a little hesitant in doing that because, while I'm trying to teach in the classroom, I want to impart the best of the knowledge that I have to my students. Technology sometimes becomes a hindrance. There is this very famous quote, what is technology? It is something which did not exist when you were born. So for someone, fridge was a technology, but now it's something which is very second nature to us. Smartphones were earlier considered a technology, but now all of us, most of us have smartphones. So how do we bridge this gap for teachers to adopt technology, that's again something we inbuilt into our products. So we're making all those experiences very simple for anyone who wants to start using technology in the classroom. So let's do a little bit of pop quiz. When we talk about Office 365, what are the few words that pop into our minds? Okay, creative thinking. And what are the products or tools which we've used in Office? They're on the board. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? We've used them, we know how to use them, something which is very normal we've used, right? But with Office 365 and Office, there are these tons of tools which are available to simplify your lives. Let me just touch upon them one by one. So one of them is OneDrive. It's essentially a storage platform on the cloud where you can store all your files. So how can you use it? As teachers, we usually store our PowerPoint decks or our files on our desktop. And then when we want to use it real time, when we want to edit it real time or from a different device, sometimes that doesn't happen. So OneDrive, it being on the cloud, you can access all your files from anywhere, any device, just because you have to only log into the internet, into the website, and you're done. Then we have something called Sway. Any one of us uses Sway? Sway, so a lot of times when we use PowerPoint, we struggle to format it, place the photos somewhere, text appears somewhere. So Sway automates everything. Let me show you just a little bit of a demo here. So what it will do is, if I put any text or any picture, I will be able to simply just rely on the system to collate all of it, to format it, and to simply then share it with my students. All I have to do is log on to sway.com. Okay, till the time it shows up, I will just continue with the slides. Office Mix, this is the tool you can use to create your own MOOCs. I will just give you a demo of this as well. Basically in PowerPoint, I go to Mix and I start by saying screen recording. So I choose which area I want to cover in my screen. Now what will happen is, once I hit record, anything that is there on my desktop will start getting recorded. So let's say I want to talk about combustion today, and I want to teach my students what is the concept, what are the different equations. I start by typing that. I put some photos. I can even use inking. In a lot of laptops these days, we have inking available. So the concept of pen and paper now becomes available to you on your devices itself. Now once I'm ready with my Office Mix, I've finished the 1 hour lecture, I just simply pause it, and here it is available in a video format for you to share with your students. Voice is also getting recorded, and this is in Office Mix. So I've created my own MOOC, which I can now share with my students, making life very simple. You can create classwork, you can create homework on this, and just simply share it with your students. Now let's go to Sway here, which is automating presentations for you. So I've gone to sway.com. I will sign in with my office address. Now what I'll do is I just clicked on create new, and I want to talk about maybe cyber security with my students today. Some heading, Windows provides security, Then I want to probably add some image. So what this way will do is it will pick up the topic that you've written and it will start searching for them right here itself. So I don't even have to find images, go and type. It will automatically take that input from you. So now I can simply drag this image here. Now let's say I want to talk about office. I want to add some. So I just did create and everything has been automated for me. Again, the number of hours we put in creating presentations, that get your process now becomes way more efficient. So as teachers, we are helping you reduce time in dealing with technology and focusing on the knowledge you want to impart to your students. We have a tool called SharePoint. All these tools which I'm talking about, they're all part of Office 365. So the moment your educational institution subscribes to Office 365, they get access to all these plethora of tools and empowers you and your students as well. So SharePoint is an intranet for your organization where you can share, store all your files with everyone. Then OneNote is something which I will now cover upon. So anyone uses OneNote? OneNote?
I tried to download on my mobile.
Yeah, so beauty of Office 365 is it is available on all types of devices, whether you're using Android, whether you're using Windows, whether you're using iOS, tablets, laptops, phones. And so OneNote is one of the tools. Basically, as the name suggests, it's your note-taking place. So there is this very unique concept in OneNote which replicates the entire classroom scenario on your virtual desktop. What I mean by that is, as a teacher, I can access all my students' notebooks on this OneNote tool. So you will see over here on the top hand side that I have access to diverse learner students. I can see what he's doing in his notebook. I have access to the math student. I can see what he has done in his notebook. I can grade it. I can even leave feedback in an audio or a video format. And I can see, what different students are doing, whether they're working, whether they've done their homework, whether they've studied Newton mechanics or not, leave homework, leave classwork. And there's this interesting thing you'll see that I have inked on it. So you can use a stylus, you can use your finger, you can use touch-enabled devices to actually replicate the proper pen and paper format. Again, we are removing those technology barriers for teachers and students, because this is one of the, again, important things that we want to inculcate the handwriting aspect. There is research done that once you write down stuff, that remains in your brain for much longer, and that's why, before exams, all students make notes. So we're bringing all those aspects in these Windows 10 devices for everyone. So with this class notebook, what happens is teachers can create their own personal library. So I've interacted with a lot of teachers, and every year they either revise their previous year's work, or they add something to it, they make edits. But that becomes a very cumbersome process because you have to keep finding data, where did you store it. But with OneNote, you can put all of it on this notebook, and whenever you're ready to share it with your students, let's say today I wanted to do this geography lesson, and I shared and I'm ready with the lesson to be shared, I'll just click on Distribute Content Library on the top, and I can paste it in any of these students' notebook. So all those concepts of teacher first creating assignments on their Word document, printing it out, distributing it in the class, taking all the assignments back, taking all of that bundle home, that gets removed. Everything is now digital. And like I said, OneNote is a tool which students can use. They can access it from their phones or laptops or some other device. So having a laptop is not a barrier for the students. They can even do it on their phones. or their parents' phones. Collaborative learning examples of how teachers and students use different pieces of technology in the classroom. So this is how OneNote has been used by the teacher to give feedback. So no more forgotten homework. Now students can't say, ma'am, I forgot homework at home because it's now all available on OneNote. This is all available on the cloud. So the teacher can, even sitting in her home, she can check all this information and students don't have any excuses anymore. Now, so first part of M365 or EduCloud offering that we have was Office 365. We've talked a lot about actually distance learning, and one of the products that we have within Office 365 is called Skype for Business. How many of us have used Skype? Perfect. So yeah, so to share one example of how teachers are using Skype is that you can anyways teach your students to teach through Skype. But how one very unique feature they do is they interact with schools abroad, with engineering colleges abroad. So we have this huge network of teachers, educators, wherein different educators who are using Microsoft technology can interact with each other. So a class sitting in Delhi has actually attended a class in Sydney, in Australia. So there is this two-way communication happening, and it becomes very interesting for the students also to understand that whatever we are reading about, let's say, culture in Australia, they're actually seeing it face-to-face over Skype and they're interacting with those students. So technology is removing these kinds of barriers as well. And something very simple, right? It's just a video conference solution. You don't need that much bandwidth, internet bandwidth. You just need half an hour of information, and the students go back with way more enriched knowledge than they could get from any textbook. So live examples help get those students interested, students of today interested in what we want to impart them with. And then now we come to the next piece, which is Windows 10. So how many of us use Windows? We all use Windows. How many of us use Windows 10? Great. What is the best feature about Windows 10 that you like? Anyone from the audience? User-friendly. Okay. Interface. Which was your favorite Windows version? 7, XP, 7, right? And which one did you not like? 8? Maybe?
Professional XP.
Professional XP. Okay. So why did people not like Windows 8? Very simple thing. Users were used to that program files format. And then when we completely overhauled the system, it became a very tiles format, right? Now with Windows 10, we bring the best of both worlds to you. You can actually use both tiles as well as the program files format. So user friendliness becomes very important for adoption of technology. So if you're used to something for so long and then suddenly it changes, it's not serving either of us any purpose. So that's why we brought those two experiences back together. And one feature I just want to touch upon Windows 10, which I don't know if you're using it, is this search feature. So as users of Windows or as users of any laptop, often we save our files, and whether we saved it in D drive or C drive on my desktop, I forget that a lot of times. And I can see a few heads nodding, a lot of us forget. But we still remember the file name. So let's say if I remember that I have made one presentation on Kaizala, I simply search it on my Windows 10 in the bottom left corner, and all the files which are named Kaizala will show up. Simplifying that experience of, again, dealing with technology. You just have to search the name of the file and you're done. Let's say if I want to search on Windows, again, everything which has the name Windows 10 will start coming up. So making life very simple for us as teachers to use it. And then security is a very inbuilt feature within Windows 10, and that's why all of us should actually be on Windows 10 and not on any previous version, because you get all the updates, all the upgrades in a real-time manner, and you don't have to rely on previous versions of Windows to help save you or the organization. I give the floor to Balendu, who has a very interesting session for us about using Windows and Office in languages we are comfortable with, in local languages, local Indian languages, as well as how technology, how Microsoft technology is accessible. That's what he'll be covering. So one final piece about Microsoft 365 is Intune. So while we are bringing technology into the classroom, or we are empowering our students to use technology, we still need to have some control over technology. So students cannot go and start using Facebook. They can't go and start using their own apps. That becomes a very important point for us as teachers and professors to have that in the classroom. And this is where the third offering of Microsoft 365, which is Intune, which is a device management solution, helps you in those cases. So this is again one of the concerns which is often expressed by teachers, by IT admins, that we want to control our IT environment, and this empowers you to do that. So all of these together, Office, Windows, Intune, they bring together the power of all of these, which help us empower students and educators all over. So let me bring Balendu over now, and he will be talking about how we at Microsoft are making technology more accessible and more user-friendly by implementing Indian languages within the interface. Over to you, Balendu.
A huge round of applause. Such a wonderful presentation.